and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all having a lovely, I don't know what day this is going up on, but it's Sunday for me today, and I have been having a lovely Sunday. I've just eaten a little tortilla pizza. You know when you get a tortilla wrap and you put pizza stuff on top? That was lovely. Followed it up with a peach and white chocolate sponge that I made yesterday. Bella Babisio, absolutely beautiful. Today I'm going to be doing my May TBR, but you may notice my TBR is really different. David stood there, he's really a bit cheeky with his tummy out. And you may notice that TBR is going to be a bit different this time because I'm on my feet. On my feet, which means I'm going to be picking out my books for my May TBR right here, right now, which is something I've never done before. So I've normally, well, I mean, you're about to see it. Normally, I take into account when I pick a TBR, I take into account what books I need to read that month, and then I have a little browse on my shelves, and I thought we could browse them together. So the books that I need to read this month, the first one is for my Patreon book club. Say need to read, but it's not a need. It's a pure delight. It's the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society. This is written by two authors, which is unusual. I don't often read books that are written by two authors. Mary Ann Schaffer and Annie Barrows. So this is a book that we will be discussing at the end of May via a live link for my Patreon book club. If you fancy joining the book club, it's $5 a month. Links down below. We have a lovely time every single month. Really, really enjoy doing it. And that's the book that we're reading. So this is I should tell you a little bit about it, really, shouldn't I, as it's a TBR. This is a book told in letters following the end of the Second World War, I think. Yeah, and I don't know. The war is over. Doesn't say what war. Julia Ashton is grappling with writer's block when she receives a letter from Dorsey Adams of Guernsey, a total stranger living halfway across the channel, who has just come across her name written in a second-hand book. And then Julia and Dorsey write to one another, and it all seems lovely. So that'll be the first book. You know what I should have here? Something to put them on, where I don't have to keep going over there, because you're going to miss me if I keep going over there. One moment, let me do that. There we go. And the other book that I've got to read is for my book club that I do at work. Obviously at the moment, what with social distancing, etc., book club isn't happening at work, but we're due to discuss The Lying Room by Nikki French, who also wrote all of the Frida Klein books that I have very much enjoyed this year. That's why we picked it, in fact, because I'd enjoyed those so much. I was like, let's read a crime book written by that. So we're reading the Lying Room, which I'm actually listening to on Scribd at the moment. I'm literally about 10 minutes into it, so I can't even really tell you much. I can't tell you anything what it's about because I don't know. I purely picked it because it was the newest one by Nikki French out. So yeah, I'll be listening to that on audio. And then the only other book I wanted to mention that I do want to read this month, and I'm going to be listening to that as well, and that's Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I thought I would listen to that on Audible. So looking forward to listening to that as well. Has that made the shortlist? Yes, it has. It's made the Women's Prize shortlist. So I'm going to be doing that. But yeah, let's get browsing. So when I browse, I just sort of have a little look and just see what takes me fancy. Now I know there is one book that's going to take me fancy, and I know where it is. And this is a new book that was out, and we were. I mean, many people were surprised that it didn't make the Women's Prize longlist, and that's The Bass Rock by Evie Wilde. And I keep hearing such wonderful, wonderful things about this. Simon and Jen have both raved about it. I've heard it from a number of people that this is ever so good. But yeah, it says here, surging out to the sea, the Bass Rock has for centuries borne witness to the lives that pass under the shadow on the Scottish mainland. And across the centuries, the fate of three women are inextricably linked to this place and each other. So you follow Sarah, Ruth and Viv at various times in history. So first of all, early 1700s, Sarah, who's accused of being a witch. I've been reading a lot of witchy books recently without even really planning to. The Mercies was all about the witch as well. Ruth, in the aftermath of the Second World War, is navigating a new marriage in the strange waters of a local community. And 6 decades later, Viv, still mourning the death of her father, is cataloguing Ruth's belongings in the now empty house. So yeah, very much looking forward to reading that. So that's one that I had an idea that I might want to read. Let's get back to the browsing, shall we? What else do I fancy? What else do I fancy? Now, what I will say is that I've got a whole host of books on it. Look at this body language. I've got a whole host of books on here which are related to Pride and Prejudice, because in June I'm going to be doing Pride and Prejudice, where I'm going to read Pride and Prejudice, and then I'm going to read books like retellings of it or adaptations of it or books inspired by Pride and Prejudice. So I've got some books on here that I'm really, really pumped about, but I can't read yet because they're coming next month. So let's keep looking. What do I fancy reading? That's the thing. What do I fancy? Oh, I tell you what, I fancy this. So this was a proof copy of a book that came out in 2017, and that was The Party by Elizabeth Day. Now, Elizabeth Day is an author and a writer first and foremost, but she does a fantastic, really fantastic podcast that I love listening to called How to Fail with Elizabeth Day, and she wrote a non-fiction book about that which celebrates people's failures, and each guest on the show identifies 3 failures in their life and they talk those through and the results of those failures, etc, etc. And I bloody love that. I love that podcast and I love the book, and I keep meaning to read some of Elizabeth Day's other stuff, and this is a proof copy, so it's got nothing here about it, but let's have a look. So it says, this is about a party. So a gripping story of obsession and betrayal, privilege and hypocrisy set in the unassailable heart of the British establishment. Martin Gilmore is an outsider. When he wins a scholarship to Burtonbury School, he doesn't wear the white clothes or speak with the right kind of accent. But then he meets the dazzling, popular and wealthy Ben Fitzmaurice and gains admission to an exclusive world. Soon Martin is enjoying tennis parties and Easter egg hunts at Fitzmaurice family's estate as Ben becomes the brother he never had. Oh, but Martin has a secret. He knows something about Ben, something that he will never forget. It's a secret that will bind the two of them together for the best part of 25 years. And now it's set in Ben's 40th birthday party. So yeah, interesting. So I have been wanting to read some Elizabeth Day for a while and been enjoying her other stuff. So yeah, let's definitely give that a go. Let's definitely give that a go. I also fancy like maybe some... maybe a classic. I keep that. No, although I'm going to be reading Pride and Prejudice in June, so maybe I won't bother with a classic. What else we got? Maybe some non-fiction. Oh, I've got a lot of library books down here. Let's have a look at some library books that I've got and see if there's any of those I want to read. Now, these I would have mentioned. I'm still here. I'm just down here. These I would have mentioned I did a library book haul quite some time ago. Oh, I tell you what. I said I wanted to read some non-fiction, and this would be perfect. That actually will be perfect. So I've picked one. I'm just going to put these back. So, The Stopping Places by Damien Lebar, which is a journey through Gypsy Britain. I first saw this, I think Mercedes bought it, no, Jen bought it for Mercedes for her birthday. I don't even think it was like last year, I think it might have been the year before. And this is a non-fiction book from Damien Lebar's point of view. He grew up surrounded by Gypsy history. His great-grandmother spoke Romany and tells him stories of her culture and her upbringing as a Romany Gypsy. And yeah, it sounds really great. It sounds very exciting, and I'm really interested in the history of those people, so very excited. It starts with a map as well, which is very exciting. And there's young Damien on the back there, so yes, definitely get to that. Oh, that's pleased me, that has. Actually, let's carry on and have a look at these library books, because sometimes I forget about them being down here. See if there's anything else I want from the library. Another one, got another one. Yeah, I got this out. I put this on reservation actually, and it only came in. Well, it came in on the 18th of February. So yeah, and I've been meaning to read this for a while as well. So why not stick it on the old TBR for May? This is The Salt Path by Raina Wynn, and this is a story again non-fiction about Raina's husband, who's got a strange name, Moth. He becomes terminally ill, and they lose their home and their livelihood. So they decide to walk the 630-mile southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. So they just decide to walk that and sort of have to negotiate the logistics of living freely without a house and not having a home and things like that. And also I believe it's got quite some beautiful nature writing in there, and I love a coastal path, so I'm very excited. Quite often we go every other year on holiday to Pembrokeshire, and they've got the most beautiful coastal path down there, so yeah, we'll be excited to read that as well. So that's book number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd like 10 really, so keep going. Realised this is taking a long time, sorry guys, but this does normally take a long time. I tell you what, I'm going to read this as well, because this is one that I got for Christmas off of my friend Emma. I asked for it for Christmas, and I've been putting it off because I wanted to read it in the summer. But May is historically, definitely last year, it's been a really hot month. So let me read Sweet Sorrow by David Nicholls. And if the weather's not hot and like as I imagine it, as the setting I would like it to be for this book, because at the moment we're all sort of stuck in our houses as well anyway. Maybe I will roll this over to July, because as I said, June I'm reading Pride and Prejudice books. But this is about 16-year-old child. I've heard good things about this, because when this first came out, I think it came out like maybe even summer last year, and everyone was saying that David Nicholls has written teenagers so well. Like, he is a teenager himself writing this, so I knew it was about teenagers. And a lot of people said that it's almost YA. It's so well written from the point of view of teenagers that it's almost YA. So it's about 16-year-old Charlie Lewis. He's the kind of boy you don't remember in the school photograph. His exams have not gone well. At home he's looking after his father when surely it should be the other way around. And if he thinks about the future at all, it's with a kind of dread. Then Fran Fisher bursts into his life, and despite himself, Charlie begins to hope. But if Charlie wants to be with Fran, he must take on a challenge that could lose him the respect of his friends and require him to become a different person. He must join the company. And if the company sound like a cult, the truth is even more appalling. The price of hope, it seems, is Shakespeare. Yeah, I think it's a love story set with the backdrop of like a youth theatre group. So yeah, that sounds amazing, and I really do. Where have you been, David? Just peeping on Minnie? He's just trying to engage Minnie in some play, and she's not really up for it. So yeah, and I really love David Nicholls' work, so perfect. That's number 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. Need 4 more. That sounds weird, doesn't it, when I've just picked, well, yeah, no, it's number 6. So, is that number 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I need 4 more. I've just picked 7 and 8 because they were next to each other, and both of them are ones that were sent to me by the publisher earlier this year, and both came out earlier this year as well, so this is quite exciting. One of them might be a bit close to the mark, and that one is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I believe it's set in a sort of pandemic. Yeah, here it says, it's been 18 months since the Raxter School for Girls was put under quarantine, since the tox hit and pulled Hetty's life out from under her. So yeah, so this is, I think this is YA. Yeah, I feel like, am I brave enough to read a book about quarantine while we're all under quarantine? I think I am feeling brave enough for it, but yeah, this sort of I really like this front cover as well, but this sort of took my interest when I was seeing a lot of people talk about it. So yeah, that one definitely. And then the one next to it was one that I got sent earlier this year, and I've been meaning to read it for quite some time, and that's Your House Will Pay by Steph Char. This came out in January 2020. The tagline, this is a proof copy, but by the way, how lovely is that green? It's like almost, that's the green I think I wanted our hallway to be, David, but our hallway, we had to go a bit lighter because there's no windows in there. It's too dark, but it's bloody lovely. But the tagline on this is "One city, two families, many secrets," and it's set in 1990 LA, and riots are tearing the city apart. In this dangerous tinderbox, the fate of 2 families become linked forever. After decades of loss and injustice, tensions between the Parks and the Matthewses comes to head and force a reckoning that could clear the air or lead to more violence. So yeah, it sounds exciting. So that's very exciting. So 2 more. I won't ask you to pick, David, because I always like you to pick my August TBR. So David will be picking my August TBR. No, he won't. Not this year, because my August TBR, I think that's when the Newts run, you know, the Newts readathon that follows on from the Owls readathon. I think I'm going to get David to pick my July TBR. So yeah, let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. Oh, I've got more. Oh, I tell you what, I've got another one. I've got my last 2. My last 2 are books from the library that I actually put reservations on and paid for them to come in to my, I'm a member of 2 libraries, one near the hospital that I work at and one near where I live. And the one near I live, you have to pay for reservations, and these books they didn't have in the library, the one near my, God, I'm telling you all the logistics of my library and book reading life. But I paid for these 2 to come in. And I've been meaning to read them for a long time, so why not pick them up in, and this one looks quite summery actually, in May. So the first one is Expectation by Anna Hope, and I saw about this, God, I do these things. I saw this on Mercedes channel, and this follows 3 girls, Hannah, Kate and Lisa. They're young, vibrant and inseparable. I remember when I was young, vibrant and inseparable. Their shared world is ablaze with art and activism, romance and revelry, and the promise of everything to come. They're electric, they're best of friends. 10 years on, they're not where they all hope to be. Amidst flailing careers and faltering marriages, each craves what the other has, and each grapples with the same question: what does it take to lead a meaningful life? Very exciting. I've got a feeling this has got something to do with the university that I went to. I think it might be set in Canterbury, where I went to university. Maybe I've misremembered that. Don't know why I think that, but that's what I think. And then the last one is one that I saw on Lena's channel. It was one of her favourite books ever, and I've been meaning to read this. And also I saw that Simon read it. I think Simon gave this 5 stars as well. And that's This Green and Pleasant Land by Aisha Malik. And this is about Bilal. And on her on Bilal's mother's deathbed, she asks that David, there's a cat outside. black one walking along. I don't think you'll see him. Can you see him at the top of the road? He's going in a corner. He's nice, isn't he? David's waving at him.
Oh, no, that man might think I'm waving.
Oh, hey, it's me. I don't think I've ever done this before. That clip, whilst David and I were looking at that cat, just cut off. So this is me ending the video now, saying I hope you enjoyed my TBR. And let me know if you've read any of those books that I was talking about. And let me know what you're planning on reading in the month of May. And I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video.